All right, this is part two of how not to be destroyed by AI. Myron Golden is breaking down the eras of wealth creation ages and how wealth was created over the ages and where we are today in the AI age. So we all the way up to 2003. Let's kick it.
2003. Then this lasted until 2008. Oops, to 2008. We went into what I call the techno info edutainment age. What was that? People who knew how to use technology to create information that would educate in an entertaining way. Those are people who own the wealth. And then the techno info edutainment age, like you would become wealthy if you became an edutainer.
Education, entertainment.
Spike Lee, Russell Simmons, Jeff Foxworthy. You might be a redneck if, right? A comedian who makes redneck joke cassette tapes and sells them at truck stops during the techno info edutainment age became so wealthy that he was one of the sharks on Shark Tank. What are we talking about, people? Like, it's mind-blowing. Like, Russell Simmons invented a new genre because he knew how to use his computer to produce music. Techno info edutainment. We talked about him earlier. Tyler Perry. Like, if one of the things hopefully y'all can see with this is, number one, that as these economic ages progress, more and more decentralization is happening and more democratization is happening. What do I mean decentralization? Like, there's less ownership by one central institution, organization, or government, and like the power is being disseminated amongst more and more people as the economic eras progress.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter if the power is being disseminated to you if you don't know it. If you're unaware of it, you're not going to access it, you're not going to use it. You say, Marion, I thought this was going to be about AI. Yeah, but you don't, like, it is.
You got to build you up.
But you got to hang in there. You got to see why this is important instead of just knowing that it's important. Okay? So what happened in 2008? Well, in 2008, this thing, not this thing. That wasn't invented until 2010. In 2007, the iPhone was invented. In 2008, the App Store was invented. And guess what happened when the App Store was invented? We went into 2008. I didn't know when this was. By the way, before I even get to 2008, let me ask you a question. What do y'all notice about each one of these economic eras? They're getting shorter and shorter. Every economic era is getting shorter and shorter. This is why that's dangerous for the average person. Because people would rather know than learn. They'd rather feel like, well, I know this, instead of being willing to learn this. And so when something changes, if you know something and then it changes, you no longer know it. So learning has to become more valuable to you than knowing. See,
you got to be in a constant state of always learning. You know, I can't stand a know-it-all either. Somebody like, I already know all that. I already know. I've already tried all that. Well, if you haven't tried and practiced and learned and tried and practiced again, then you ain't living, you're not embracing learning. That's how I know, that's how they come up with the saying you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You become that old, Danny Glover motherfucker, that's always talking about you too old for something. As long as you living, you got the opportunity to learn and transform and grow and learn a new skill and be proficient at another skill and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Never lock your mind to, I already know everything I need to know. God gave you, I don't know how many trillions of brain cells to continue to grow and evolve with. Be ashamed to waste them.
School system, knowing you take a test, you pass the test if you know the answers they told you to know. But if you know the answers, now you don't need to learn anything. And if you don't learn anything, when everything changes, the stuff you know is no longer so. How many y'all tracking? And so what we had to do, we got to figure out, okay, every economic era is changing. This is why it's dangerous. Because when an economic era becomes shorter, you have less time to prepare to capitalize on the era you are in. That's why when you see a new economic era emerging, you have to jump in like all the way. You have to go all in. You got to jump in the deep end of the pool. You cannot dote about and take your time and wait for, like, well, I'm just waiting to wait and getting ready to get ready. You can't do that. Because by the time you decide to get ready to prepare yourself for the new economic era, it's already gone.
It's already passed. And
now you're stuck again, attempting to remember and living in the past. Y'all see how this thing keeps perpetuating? And it's easier for this to perpetuate than for it not to perpetuate. But in 2008, all the way up to about 2021, we were in what I call the partnership age. And in the partnership age, people knew how to create strategic partnerships. Partnerships equaled wealth. Think about this. We're talking about people who knew how to create podcasts and interview people. Think about this. Like, it's so fascinating that some of the most popular podcasts are not podcasts of experts disseminating their expertise, but it's curious people having conversations with interesting people in front of interested people. Right? This is mind-blowing. Well, at least it's mind-blowing to me. My mind's easily blown, so don't judge me. Okay. But this is the first economic era in world history that's lasted for a longer period of time than the previous economic era. Very few people capitalized on the partnership age. It blows my mind. I made millions and millions and millions of dollars during the partnership age. Why? Because I realized that maybe I had an offer and you had an audience. I would partner with you and you would share your audience with me. And I would share your offer with my audience and then I would share revenue with you. Or maybe you have an offer and I have an audience. Do you see? Well, here's what really is amazing. The people who capitalize the most on the partnership age are multi-billion-dollar corporations. Like who? Like Apple. Apple said, if you will create apps for our app store, and you'll put those apps in our app store, we'll pay you 70%. We'll pay you 70%, and we'll only keep 30%. Amazon said, if you'll write books and put them on our bookshelves, we'll pay you 70% of the price of the book, and we'll only keep 30%. Multi-billion-dollar corporations. This is the first time this ever happened in world history now. Multi-billion-dollar corporations made partnerships with John Q. Public and said, if you will create content and products to put on our shelves, we will pay you most of the revenue from the profits. What?
Because in the digital age, it's so wide open that if a corporation can even get 15, 20% off each person that goes out and sells something, you getting 85% one time or 80% one time. They may be getting 20, 10, 15, 20% off 100,000 million people infinitely, right? So it's a win-win. It's a win for you because you get to have more control over your endeavors and entrepreneurship. You get to have more control over your product. And it's a win for them. They have no overhead, no inventory, no payroll. They simply take a cut off an infinite amount of people who are producing in the digital economy. You know, but the win for you is you get freedom, you get independence, you get a capitalist amount of salary. It's the sky's the limit. You can make what you want to make just by creating digital products, digital podcasts, webcasts, webinars, things like that.
But most people have never, I want you to think about this. Most people.
And the shame about it is most people 35 and up are just totally missing it. They're just totally missing the idea because, like I say, we all know those people that's too cool for school, too cool to keep up with the new technology, and they get left behind doing shit the old way. They're becoming blockbuster.
No, who created one strategic partnership with any multi-billion-dollar corporation? Almost none. How many people do you know who've created an app in the App Store? Almost none. How many people do you know who've written like ebooks to put on Amazon? Almost none. It's so easy to do. Even Google, even right now, YouTube. You know what YouTube is? YouTube is me partnering with Google, a multi-billion-dollar corporation. I said, I'll create content for your platform. I will get people to pay attention to your platform and stay on your platform longer. And they said, well, great. Since you're going to do that, we'll send you money every month to the tune of tens of thousands of dollars. YouTube pays me more money every month for teaching things I would have taught anyway on their platform than I've ever made at a job in a year in my life. Why? Because I partnered in a strategic partnership with Google. And so now we're in the AI age. Okay. In the AI age, you know what equals wealth? Understanding the 4 levels of value. Like, this equals wealth. Like, if you don't understand, like, if you understand and capitalize on the 4 levels of value in the economic era of the AI age, you have the potential. If you'll capitalize on the 4 levels of value now, the 4 levels of value has never been more valuable than it is right now. Wow, this is the 4 levels. I got chills thinking about this right now. Literally, a hair standing up on my arm. I have goosebumps right now because the 4 levels of value is something that God created in Genesis chapter 1, that when we utilize it to apply to the economic era we're in now, we have an advantage that we've never, like the kind of advantage we've never had the possibility of having in the past.
Right.
What are the 4 levels of value? Well, the lowest level of value is implementation. That's the lowest level of value. The second lowest level of value is unification. Now, implementation, I'm going to go ahead and write the whole word. Implementation. Okay? Implementation is when I use my muscles over time to make money. And I'm going to make somewhere between minimum wage and maybe $80,000 a year if I'm on the implementation level. Unification is where I use my management skills to make money.
All right, we're moving up the steps.
I'm going to make somewhere between $80,000 a year as a manager, maybe at McDonald's or Taco Bell, to $250,000 a year. And if I'm doing that, if I'm a manager at Lockheed Martin or Boeing or somewhere, wealth begins to be created above this line. What is that? Communication. And on the communication level, we use our mouth to make money. Now, here's the caveat though. You have to have a mouth, and you have to learn how to use it, and then you have to be willing to use it. Right? Just having a mouth is not enough. That's only one. It's only one pre-qualification. And so, the better you get at communicating, you use your mouth to make money. And what you do is you create messages that move the masses and have conversations that create cash flow. And on this level, you could make anywhere from, on the low end, $100,000 a year. High end, it could be like hundreds of millions a year. Hundreds of millions of dollars a year, communication. Think about it. When I say communication, I'm talking about speakers, I'm talking about podcasters, I'm talking about talk show hosts, I'm talking about singers, I'm talking about songwriters, I'm talking about playwrights, I'm talking about actors, I'm talking about people who communicate a message to the masses. That's where wealth has been created. By the way, that's like a secret sauce. Because communication gives you access. Communication is the tool Frederick Douglass used to free himself from slavery and to free others from slavery. Communication is powerful because words are, I believe, the most powerful force in the universe. So powerful, in fact, that God used them both as the tool and the building block to create everything out of nothing. What's the highest level of value? Imagination. Now, here's what's interesting about imagination. You can speak without thinking. How many of you always say, man, I wish I'd have thought before I said that? Anybody ever?
Now,
right?
peep this. Watch this. you got the bottom muscles over time. The more you use your physical body, for lack of a better word, the lower you are on the ladder. The least valuable it is. It's just the way it is. The corporation's economy feels like it can get a fresh body to, do physical labor type of stuff, whatever that is, readily. So they don't pay very well for that. But peep how, as you go up, communication, being able to speak, being able to learn, being able to run your mouthpiece, being able to describe and sell a certain product is second highest, right above the wealth line. Look at what's at the top. Imagination. We aren't taught from a young age that thinking and creating and using our imagination is at the top level of wealth creation. For some reason, we're taught, if you out there like me, was taught that it's a waste of time. Imagination. You better go and get to work. That's a very, very, very poverty mindset to do that. But we do that. We are to believe that, once we become adults, we got to put our imagination part of our minds away. But think about all the millionaires songwriters, book writers, movie script writers, are imagination builders. Think about George Lucas. Think about Stan Lee. Think about Beyonce. Think about Lil Wayne. They create a package with their musical talent, and since they're the only or very small amount of people in the world that can do what they do, or in this case, they're the only one that can sell their product, then that makes them all the more valuable. Because they're the only one that can sell Beyonce music. So she had to brand it, package it, create it, and now she can benefit off of the fruits of her label because she's the only one that can sell and package her music. Think about 50 Cent, every musician that once they branded themselves, the reason why they get paid so much is because they're the only one that can sell and package their brand. So whatever they create become valuable. They continue to create more product that becomes wealth producing because as they create, they continue to make more money. They go online. They don't have to, they don't really have to go. They can use their brand to sell and create and make more profit. And that's the reason. That's what we have in our hands today. I'm gonna let him finish.
You can think. You can speak without thinking, but you can't think without words. So even though imagination is the highest level of value, by the way, use your mind to make money.
Use your mind.
Even though imagination is the highest level of value, your mouth is critical to your mind. Your ability to communicate is absolutely integral and essential in developing your ability to imagine or to think or to create or to contemplate, to come up with something of value for other people. Now, how does this apply to AI? How do the four levels of value apply to AI? AI, so cyberspace and computers. Okay, let's go back to this for a second. One more thing I want you to notice. The agricultural age and the slow, grueling, hard, laborious work is what created the need for the industrial age. If I can somehow create a machine, if I can create some kind of leverage so I don't have to work so hard. So the industrial age created the need for the age that replaced it. The industrial age, they started manufacturing so much more product, GDP, gross domestic product, that they can't have it all stacking up in one place, so they had to distribute it. And so they needed the railroad. And so what happens is the industrial age created the need for the distribution age. So wild. So every economic era we can see is creating the age that replaces it, just by being what it is. And so the distribution age, they were distributing so much stuff, but they couldn't keep track of it, so that brought in the technology age. How can you use technology to keep track of all the stuff we're making? And then technology gave us access to more information than the information age. And then we use that information to educate, entertain, and then all of a sudden now regular people like us can partner with multi-billion-dollar corporations. Y'all see that? But here's what else. I don't know if you saw this. The computers and the phones and the iPads and the tablets that we hold in our hands, because of cyberspace, because of the internet, this is now the land on which I build my business, on which I cultivate my crops, on which I create value. I do it in this thing called cyberspace. Are y'all tracking? So this is the land. The internet is the land. The device is the internet is the land of the new agricultural age, but it's not agricultural, right? It's cyberspace age. Like now space is digital, which means now there's unlimited space for an unlimited number of people who are willing to continue to grow limitlessly, right? And but the machines that we hold in our hand are now the tools that we use to manufacture the stuff that we manufacture. It's so wild. I've got cameras back there, but those cameras are hooked up to computers. And I don't need the cameras. I can just use my phone. In fact, for the longest time, all the YouTube videos I created, I just used my phone. And so the devices that we hold in our hand are now the machines of the new industrial era, because we're manufacturing ideas, representations of ideas, and then hosting them on the internet where millions of people can find them. Is what I'm saying making some sense? And then so cyberspace and computers and AI are the new arena of cultivating and manufacturing and distributing and tracking information. And so now this device that I hold in my hand is the machine, but it's also the distribution outlet, because I sell stuff on the internet. I sell stuff to people in countries I've never been to. When? Every day. Every day I sell stuff to people in countries I've never been to and in countries I'll never visit. Why? Because now distribution is digital. Manufacturing is digital. And then I use the technology.
Somebody should be saying
I know how to use some technology. I can use some technology, like I know how to use my iPad. But I'm not a computer programmer. I'm not a video editor, but I don't have to be. Why? Because I can go on the internet and I can find somebody who can do that for me. And so
you have AI do it for you.
Like, if I want to learn something that I don't know, where do I go? I go to the same internet. I have access to it on my phone, even in remote places in the world. This is like, there's never been a time in human history where there's been so much opportunity for so many people, for so few of them to be capitalizing on it. And I can become an edutainer. I am kind of edutaining. Okay, so, all right, and I can partner. And so cyberspace and computers connected to cyberspace and AI are the new arena of cultivating, manufacturing, distributing, and tracking value. And then AI is the new era of educating myself, self-education, influencing, socially influencing, and persuading, selling and persuading, influencing and persuading, and then implementing, like skillfully delivering. AI is the new era of all of those things. So there are a lot of people who are saying, yeah, but if AI creates something, it's not real. Well, it kind of depends on how, it might not be real. Like, there are a lot of fake Myron Golden channels out there. I have 3 channels. I have Myron Golden, I have Myron Bible Study with Myron Golden, and I have Myron Golden Shorts. If you see something else that has my name on it, my picture, and a voice with a moving background, it's not me, it's AI. Please report it. Those people are attempting to make you think they're me, so that they can eventually scam you out of something, because if they're willing to pretend to be me, they'll also pretend to offer you value that I'd never offer and get you to send them money for things that I have no idea what it is. So, like, if you see them, report them. Let's all work together in getting all these fake channels taken down so they'll realize that it is a waste of their time to do it. Okay, you are tracking. Now, so the highest 2 levels of value are communication and imagination. So the way we keep from being destroyed by AI and the way we get rich in the AI era are the same. We have to elevate our ability to imagine more creatively and more vividly, to think more creatively and more vividly, and we have to level up our ability to communicate more clearly. So the more clearly, vividly, and creatively I can think, and the more clearly I can communicate to AI, then the better I'm going to become at being able to deliver value to people who are not me. Because AI can help me research something in 15 minutes that used to take me 15 hours. So I'm not using AI to replace me. I'm using AI to leverage the process of learning. I'm using AI to leverage the process of figuring out what is the best way to reach the best people for this value I've created. So if I think about it like this, now instead of me just partnering with Google, Apple, Amazon, whoever these major corporations are, instead of me just partnering with people who have podcasts and people who have shows and people who have Instagram channels and Instagram profiles and YouTube channels, now I'm figuring out how can I partner with AI so AI can help me do all the things I do more quickly, more efficiently, and more effectively. And the way that I do that is by becoming more clear with my communication. The difference, if you think about what's the difference between a person in art school and Picasso? Their imagination and their ability to use the tool. Right? That's the difference. Picasso had an imagination that gave him the ability to use the tool in a way a student in art school can't use. AI is not Picasso. AI is the tool. What's the difference between Steve Jobs and a 7th grader learning computer programming? The creative imagination and the ability to use the tool. The tool that you've got to develop, this is so wild and crazy to me. The tool that you've got to develop in order for you not to get left behind by AI are the same tools that give you the ability to earn the most money. You have to be able to think more clearly, you have to be able to communicate more clearly. But now you have to figure out how to think more clearly about how to utilize AI to become the best version of yourself, and then how to communicate with AI in such a way so that when you're asking it a question, it's not like hallucinating things that don't make sense because you weren't clear. Your ability to effectively use words and your ability to effectively see the end from the beginning is going to directly impact your ability to utilize AI. And here's the warning. Here's the warning. Either you will figure out how to use AI. And here's what's cool. You said, if I catch any one of y'all talking about, yeah, but I don't know how to use AI. I'm coming to get your family and I'm taking them to safety. Here's why. Because AI will teach you how to use AI. Any question you have about how to use AI, the best person to ask that question to, it's not really a person, is AI. The AI that you're using. And then ask a different AI. And then get them competing with each other. To teach you, so for the purpose of learning, and for the purpose of leveraging. And if you will do that, you will not get left behind by AI. Whatever your job is, let's say you work a job. Let's say, whatever your job is. If you work a job, I would be, if I were a forklift driver, I'd be asking AI, how can I get to the place? I'm a forklift driver. This is what my company does. This is what would be the best things for me to do to get a promotion at my job and either make more money as a forklift driver, or what's the next logical step for me to go into? Like, have conversations with AI like that. If you're an author, like, I would never have AI outline a book for me. AI can't outline as good a book as I can. Why? Because AI doesn't have the experiences to pull from that I have. But AI can help me say the thing that I'm attempting to say more clearly if I'll utilize it that way. See, we approach AI like we approach everything else. Good enough is good enough. So as soon as I get, well, I'm done, so I'm done. What if you just keep iterating and reiterating and reiterating and refining and reiterating and refining to the point where you get something so crystal clear that in the minds of the people that you're serving, it becomes so incontrovertibly good that you, as a brand, become irresistible. And that's how you keep.
And that's the talent with AI. You have to learn, because I was using it the other day, and I was kind of coming up with some basic bullet points to put into a video, and it came out with what I said, but it was still like, okay, kind of simple, kind of like, okay, it was a runway with a model and some flashing lights in the background. But the more I refined it, okay, make it in the daytime, make it near a beach, make the hair blonde instead of brown, add a blue dress instead of a red dress, okay. It looks like a dozen people, let's make it 1,000 people. And so the minute I refined that video, I was using the free version, so I ran out of tokens and shit. but the more I refined that video, the more clear it got. It just gave me more ideas on, if you can get a movie script or a video commercial scene down to the details of, and just keep refining, just kind of keep your imagination creating. Okay, what's the who, what, when, where, why, and how of this video? Who is in the video? What do they have on? Where are they going? What are they saying? What did one person say to the other person? And just kind of find a way to construct that. And there are AI scripts online that you can get for certain type of movies that you want to do. They even have scripts that you put into AI, and it creates different variations of a long form scripted video. But when you learn how to do it yourself, the sky's the limit. With AI, it is.
By AI. I hope this video helps you in real practical ways. Focus on the highest 2 level of value. Focus on partnering with AI to become a better version of yourself so you can serve more people at the highest level. Thanks for watching, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.
Small YouTubers, gather right here and let's help each other. Small YouTubers, gather right here and let's help each other.
Probably should have cut that.